Welcome to another edition of SVSU Red Alert, your weekly update on Saginaw Valley State University athletics. I'm your host, JJ Boehm. The SVSU football team got a big win at Ferris State and now sits alone atop the GLIAC North standings. We'll review all of that with SVSU head football coach Jim Collins, and we'll get an update on men's soccer from their head coach, Cale Wasserman. That's all ahead on this edition of SVSU Red Alert. Welcome back to SVSU Red Alert. I'm JJ Boehm, joined by SVSU head football coach Jim Collins. And Coach, game with Ferris State, like so many games seems to, goes right down to the wire, but SVSU able to get the victory 31-28.
Well, exactly. And you know, JJ, we knew Ferris State was going to be a good football team. They were sitting atop the GLIAC standings with us. Tough environment to play in at Ferris, their homecoming, and I thought our guys did a great job of taking, you know, the momentum early and running with it, and we had a great first half, and I still think we played a really good second half. It's just that Ferris is a good football team. They found a way to score and get back in it, but we were able to hold them off and win the football game.
The first 28 minutes of that game probably could not have gone any better from an SVSU perspective. You built a 24-0 lead, and you got big plays in each phase of the game, offense, defense, and special teams.
Well, and the critical thing was we were able to capitalize on turnovers. We had a turnover when we punted to them and forced a fumble, and we got 3 points out of that. And then our defense was able to score with the turnover on a hit on the quarterback. So those big plays by the defense and really solid special teams play. And then our offense converted a lot of third downs, something we talked about last week and knew we had to emphasize, and doing that enabled us to build that lead. But at the same time, we knew we were going against a formidable opponent, and we knew we had to keep battling and keep fighting and not give up and not relax at all.
And really, again, a little bit unfortunate the way that circumstances of the game are, because after you build that lead, Ferris is able to get a touchdown right before the half, then they get the ball to start the second half, and all of a sudden they're right back in the game, and your offense was off the field for about 40 minutes of actual time.
That's a great point, and we talked about it on the sidelines of getting going again and getting warmed up on the sidelines and getting John throwing to the receivers to get them warmed up. That's a great point. I thought our big play in that game obviously was getting that ball back after Ferris had cut the lead to 10 on that second drive and going 86 yards, 16 plays, and getting that 31 points.
And obviously that was able to hold up because Ferris got it back within 3, but you're also able to get a huge play down at the goal line, D'Angelo Paris coming up with an interception.
That was a really big play, and that was actually a third down play for Ferris. So if we don't get that interception there, you have to assume they're going to kick a field goal. And obviously it was a 3-point game. So great play by D'Angelo. He got a great jump on the football. Very similar to the week before. The week before, the ball went through D'Angelo's hands against Lake Erie. This time he came up big with the interception.
D'Angelo also getting another interception in the closing seconds to finally seal the victory, and SVSU able to celebrate at that point. But a couple of things from this game as well that really proved to be key. SVSU very effective on third down all game long, and the primary combination on third down was John Jennings to Jeff Janis. They both had tremendous days.
Exactly, and I think it was really important for us to be able to do that. Number one, we know that people are going to key on Jeff Janis. So if we can still make plays on third down with Jeff and with John, that's critical. But Andrew Dillon made a lot of big third down plays as well. The line did a great job protecting. Ferris came with some blitzes on third downs. But yeah, third down efficiency was really critical for us, not just on offense, but on defense. We did a great job on third down as well of getting off the field.
And again, those turnovers throughout the game obviously being a big factor. SVSU +4 in the turnover margin in the win over Ferris. John Jennings, I think 19 of 26 passing on the afternoon for 220 yards. Didn't have any turnovers. Jeff Janis, 10 catches for 161, as you said, and a lot of those coming on third down. And in the run game, not a lot of production, but I think he had 38 carries on the game, again, sticking with the run game, even though you couldn't get a lot of progress I'm sure you would have liked to see.
You know, we felt like the run game wasn't as explosive as it's been in the past. You mentioned that. I think we were 4 and 5 yards here and there, and ultimately I don't know what the final stats were, but the key thing was, as you said, controlling the football, setting up third downs that were manageable and attainable. And I thought in that first half, keeping our defense on the sidelines and their offense off the field was really important.
What did you say to your team when Ferris was making that run in the second half? Because for a while they had that option attack working and it was just clicking the way that you can see why Ferris had put up so many points in their previous wins.
I think it's a testament to our maturity and experience as a football team, because I didn't have to say much. You could see that we were very calm and poised on the sidelines in all phases, and we trusted in what we were doing. We trusted each other. There's a lot of faith in the people on the field, and we just kept working, and that's the key. In those situations, keep your poise, keep playing your game, keep working, and believe in what you're doing, and believe in, and if you keep doing it, the outcome's going to be favorable for you.
Another thing that comes into play late in the game is that Ferris is out of timeout, so they have to try an onside kick early, and you went with 3 run plays, didn't put the ball in the air, so you knew that's going to give the ball back to Ferris, but with little time and with no timeouts left. Talk us through your thinking at that point.
Well, exactly. We got the ball back with 2:46, and we knew we'd probably, if we could just run 3 run plays and punt, they'd have to go a long ways, and they'd only have about 25 to 30 seconds to get that accomplished. So we were very conservative with our play calling. We actually ran the quarterback twice because we didn't even want to mess around with the handoffs, and we want to make sure we maintain ball security. And then we just we knew we just had to execute a punt. And we'd been doing a good job all day and all week in preparation of executing punts against their looks and covering punts. And we knew that it would be tough to go that distance that they had to go, in that situation without any timeouts. So we felt really good about that. Just run, run, run. Hopefully get a first down, but if not, punt with very little time left on the clock.
And obviously that worked out for SVSU, and I know you've got to be very satisfied with this victory on the road against Ferris. Again, the team coming in undefeated in GLIAC play. Their homecoming, there were a lot of things stacked against you.
Obviously a lot of things stacked against us. That's why I'm proud of the way we played. I thought we played with a lot of energy, and when you get on the road, we talked about this in the pregame, we talked about this last week, getting the momentum early and getting off to a great start is really important. That's what we were able to do. And once again, that's not easy to do on the road. So the ability to do that, to come out, on fire like we did, I was really proud of that from our players.
SVSU able to get the victory 31-28 at Ferris State. Cardinals now 4-0 in GLIAC play and in first place alone atop the GLIAC North standings. Now they return home to take on the Northwood Timberwolves for SVSU's homecoming and the Axe Bowl. We'll get a preview of that game coming up, but when we come back, we'll be joined by SVSU linebackers coach Tesfa Smith. That's next on SVSU Red Alert.
This week's Spring Hill Suites Female Athlete of the Week is Emily Short. Short, a junior on the SVSU women's cross-country team, earned a first-place finish for the Cardinals with a time of 18 minutes in the 5K race. Short was one of 5 SVSU runners to finish in the top 11. The Cardinals are back in action on Friday, October 11th as they travel to Hillsdale College. Emily Short, your Spring Hill Suites Female Athlete of the Week.
Welcome back to SVSU Red Alert. I'm JJ Boehm, now joined by SVSU linebackers coach Tesfa Smith. And Tesfa, this is a unit for you that people were so familiar with Grant Caserta for the last 4 years. He's now graduated, back helping as an assistant coach. And then you've got Brian Johnson at the one linebacker, and then a whole lot of names that people probably don't know all that well.
Yeah, first let me start with losing Grant. You lost not only a lot of production, but a lot of leadership. Grant was really great. He just not only had the talent, but he had the awareness. He was basically the quarterback of the defense, along with Jeff Heath, that helped get those guys lined up. And so it was a big transition losing those guys, because that was everyone's kind of comforter, having those 2 guys out there. So we had a lot of growing to do a little bit. And, having Brian, who logged a lot of snaps, helped. Because he was a 2-year starter coming back for us, logged a lot of snaps, and it was very productive for us. So, we, felt really good about him going in. And then it was some question marks with that other spot. We felt good about Trevor Blattner, who's a redshirt sophomore for us. And, he stepped in that starting role. Didn't start the first game, but started the last 4 games and has done a really great job for us. And then all the other guys that are in the mix is you got Dwight Trammer, who actually started the first game, but is now seeing a lot of role a lot more playing time, beside the fact that he's not starting, but still sees a lot of playing time along with Lawrence Brown. So, and then we have two other guys, Joe Craven and then Tanner Mockow, who help a lot in the kicking game. Don't see much playing time when it comes to playing, defense, but it helps out tremendously on the kicking game. So we have about 6 guys right now at our spot, and we feel really good about those guys. But the biggest thing for us is staying healthy and getting those other guys in and keep building depth and creating depth. So.
Look at the course of the season, and obviously there's a lot of key plays when you have games that have gone down to the wire, as the wins against Findlay and Ferris State did. And no play bigger than Brian Johnson with his interception in the end zone against Findlay, because that's a game you win by 1 point. Findlay scores there, could be a different outcome.
Yeah, and we stress to Brian all the time when we're down there, when you read pass, it just sink, and he played it perfect. You couldn't play it any better, and we were fortunate to get out of there. And going into this game this week, we wanted to really pick up our game defensively. We struggled a little bit neutralizing the run against Findlay and against Lake Erie, and we took pride in playing great defense. So it affected us, and I thought that those guys came out in the Ferris game with a whole lot more energy, with an objective to neutralize that quarterback, who was very good and had a great game against us last year. And I think they stepped up to the challenge, and we did a fantastic job this past Saturday of neutralizing. And a lot of that had to do with our linebacker play, up front play, and just the whole defense collectively. I thought everyone played a great game in contributing to stopping that run.
And doing that, Ferris did get enough to make it close towards the end, but as you said, it's usually about making one more play than the other team does, and SVSU has been able to do that.
Well, going into that game in the Lake Erie, coming from the Lake Erie game, we played 120 snaps, and against Findlay, I want to say we played about 80 snaps. Going into the Ferris game, going into halftime against Ferris, they had only played 16 snaps. They logged 66 snaps total the whole game. So I thought that those guys stepped up to the challenge as far as neutralizing them. We did give up some big throws, and that kind of got them back in the game. But JJ, I really believe those are things that we can get better at. Those are things that are fixable. And, as long as we are defending the run the way we are, I feel good about where we're going to be, as the season continues.
And you'll need to defend the run against Northwood, but probably have to defend the pass a lot more than people are used to seeing when we play the Timberwolves.
Yeah, their attack is going to be similar to Lake Erie, similar to our attack. It's not like defending the wishbone. We're done with the option for now. We've had 3 or 4 weeks of defending the option, so we feel good about going in and playing an attack that we're familiar with. So we feel good about the game plan. Again, we got to get better a little bit in the passing game, and I think as long as we prepare for this game, we'll be fine. And that was one of the biggest things. I thought that our preparation going into the Ferris game was really great, and I think if we go along those lines into this week, we should feel really good about how we play Saturday.
One of the other hats that you wear for this program is being the recruiting coordinator. Talk about what all that entails, because I think people think about recruiting and what's on message boards and all this kind of stuff. But there's a lot of work that goes into all of the time and evaluation and trying to find out who's a good fit for your program.
Yeah, recruiting for us, starts the day after signing date. So once that signing date, once we sign those kids, we start recruiting those the following class, and it entails of going into those camps in May, following those kids the whole summer, getting them on campus throughout the summer, trying to get them up on visits to meet the staff and walk around campus, and then staying in touch with them, as their senior season begins, and then getting them up on campus for our game days, So generally, when we have home games, we try to bring up 50, 60 kids, just so we can talk to them, so they can see the campus and get a good feel about what it's like to play football here. But yeah, like you said, it's a lot of work, because we have to, get the list together. We have to get in touch with those kids, and, we have to meet with those kids, before the game. It's not like we're sitting in our office. We have to entertain them a little bit and then kind of get them going around campus, and then, hopefully give them an entertaining game, and then try to talk to them afterwards. And then after the game, and after they've been up to campus, you got to stay in touch with them. And then come December, get them back on campus, to make it a little bit more official. and then really try to convince them to become Cardinals. The great thing that we got going for us is a beautiful campus. I've never denied. I've always felt good about the fact that if we can get a kid on campus, they will like what they see. I think they can get a quality education here. No matter what they want to get into, they can get a quality education. I think we have a fantastic football program, so they have an opportunity to compete week in and week out, which is all you can ask for. And I think they can grow, as people. So, we offer those things. So for me, yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's not a hard sell here. So that's what makes you feel good about it.
And I know you enjoy it, even though it is a lot of sometimes paperwork and other things involved with it. I know you enjoy it, and I know you're looking forward to getting your team ready, your group, the linebackers, to take on Northwood. Tesfa Smith, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having JJ.
And when we come back, we'll be joined by SVSU men's soccer coach Kale Wasserman. That's next on SVSU Red Alert. Welcome back to SVSU Red Alert. I'm joined now by SVSU men's soccer coach Kale Wasserman. And Kale, before we get into this season, let's talk a little bit first about what it was like for this program after last season, where you're able to go all the way to the national championship game. You lose 3-2, but get so much national adulation in the process. What's it like then to keep trying to make this program be the type of program you want it to be?
Last year was special. We had a great run. I think we went 14 games unbeaten at the end of the season, which is, something special that not many teams can say that they've done. And so many late games, so many overtime wins, just, a very, very intense ending of the season. But our guys are humble. We had a lot of young guys and a lot of returners. So, to kind of follow that up, we just knew we had to keep working. And that's how we got there in the first place. So, with all the national attention and everything else, just tried to keep the guys grounded. And, as soon as the season ended, winter workouts started. So, it didn't take that much time to sit back and reminisce. We knew that we had to prepare for our spring season where we played a bunch of Division I teams. So kind of hit the ground running right away back in January when we got back from break. And, hoping to continue the trend with the wins that we had last year late in the year as we get into the second half of the season.
And again, you had a great senior class last year, but you obviously had a lot of younger players that were in key roles for your team last year. Does that experience help now as, again, you get into the second half of this season?
Yeah, we graduated 2 All-Americans as well as another senior that was second in the nation in assists. So graduated some key guys, but we brought back, I want to say, 8 returners from that starting line and 12 other guys who contributed off the bench. So we brought back 19, 20 guys. So to get those guys all that experience last year off the bench or starting, whatever it was, they came in this year and already had experience in top competition, high-level games, teams across the country. So, we've got that experience as well as some new guys this year that have contributed quite heavily and are leading some top statistical categories as well in the GLIAC. So got a good mix of youth and experience on this team.
And so far it's got you in first place in the GLIAC. Still a lot of soccer to be played, but how do you feel the team has played so far?
We've played well. We had a disappointing opening weekend of the season where we played so well and outshot both our opponents by about 20 shots per game and just didn't get the results. But since then, we're 5-1-1 in the GLIAC and really bounced back from that. Have done very well at home as well as away. So we've put ourselves in a good position. We've got 7 games to go, got some tough games coming up, but I think we're right where we need to be, being a team that has, in the last couple of years shown the later half of the season, second half of the season, continued to improve. I'm quite confident if we can do the things we're supposed to do and focus on the little details that we can put ourselves in a good spot.
What has made you successful as kind of that second half of the season club? Because, again, that's something that I suspect it is, those little adjustments over the course of the season.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, we preach all the time that you have to keep improving. Every day, every practice, throughout a game. You'll see if you look at the stats, second half of games, we usually do quite well. We're just not satisfied. Our guys have that mentality that you have to keep pushing forward, have to keep improving. So come October, we're not thinking, all right, we've already done our jobs. We know that, we want to take our season into December. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of adjustment. It takes film study. It takes hard work all year long. So that's kind of the mentality that the guys have adopted the last, couple years, and it showed results. I think getting those results the last couple years has even motivated us even more to keep that mentality going into the late fall, into late October, early November when the postseason starts coming around.
What does your team need to do to be successful here down the second half of the season?
Bottom line, I think, is just focus one game at a time. We haven't even made or qualified the postseason yet, so we can't start focusing too much on what we want to do if we get there. We got to focus on how can we get there, how can we win games. We're at Malone this weekend, a very tough place to play. They're having a very up and down year, but that's a scary thing because they've been inconsistent, but they can really punish you if they play well, and they've got a tough field to play on. So we're just focused on this week, focused on today. We train today, we'll train tomorrow, one day at a time, one game at a time until we get into a position where we can think further down the road.
Well, hopefully all of those things continue to bode well for the Cardinals down the second half of the season. Cale Wasserman, thanks for joining us.
Thanks a lot, JJ.
And when we come back, we'll be rejoined by football coach Jim Collins. That's next on SVSU Red Alert.
This week, Spring Hill Suites Male Athlete of the Week is Jordan Kalk. Kalk, a freshman on the SVSU men's soccer team, scored the lone goal that led the Cardinals to a 1-1 tie against Great Lakes Intercollegiate Athletic Conference co-leader Tiffin. Kalk leads the GLIAC in goals scored with 6 and ranks second in the conference in overall points with 12. The Cardinals now head on the road to Ohio, where they will face Malone October 11th and Walsh October 13th. Jordan Kalk, your Spring Hill Suites Male Athlete of the Week.
Welcome back to SVSU Red Alert. I'm JJ Boehm, rejoined by SVSU head football coach Jim Collins. And Coach, big win on the road last week against Ferris. Now you come home, and it's rivalry Saturday across the GLIAC, SVSU in the Axe Bowl against Northwood.
Well, it's always a great game when we play the Axe Bowl. And, I think that's really good. We're coming off of a big win, a lot of emotion, and we get to get right back up there. And, one of the hardest things to do as a coach is after a big win, especially a big win on the road, is to get refocused on the next one. But the fact that it's the Axe Bowl, the fact that we're home, the fact that it's homecoming, I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned about our preparation, having a great week of practice, obviously, but our emotions should be high because of the nature of the game and the nature of the opponent.
Northwood losing last Saturday 31-17 at Wayne State, but they had the lead 17-10 at halftime. And one of the things for our fans, if they come to this homecoming game, they're going to see is that Northwood's not running the option anymore. They're running the spread.
Exactly, and that's, we've become so familiar with the Woodbone, and it's not so much the Woodbone anymore. It's a pass offense, and they're doing a good job. I think they threw it 50 times against Wayne State, and they're throwing it a lot every week, and having success, moving the football, scoring points. They've got good receivers, good quarterbacks. Seems like the line's protecting very well. But the other thing they're doing is playing great defense in terms of stopping the run, getting after the quarterback.
So obviously you've got your work cut out for you in this game, and I'm sure as much as, when you're on the road playing a team for their homecoming, you're talking about blocking all that stuff out. You kind of have to do the same thing sometimes at home as well, so your players don't get overwhelmed by the emotion.
Exactly, and that's one of the things. There's a lot of distractions at your homecoming and a lot of things going on, and I've always said, a lot of people want to come to the homecoming to see the football team win, and that's the goal for our football team this week.
What do you have to do to be successful against a Northwood team that, again, is doing different things than what people have become so accustomed to seeing?
Well, the good thing about it is, we've gone through some pretty tough offenses the last 3 weeks. And what Northwood does is probably a little of what we've seen. So we've had great preparation the last 3 weeks. We've just about seen everything that you can see as from an opposing offense. So I think it's really getting focused on exactly what they do best and really working on defending what they do best. And we talked about that last week. I thought we did a good job of defending what Ferris does best, run the quarterback. So the key is to focus on what that team does best and really put all your emphasis into that, and then expect your guys to play with a lot of emotion and a lot of energy.
What do you do on the offensive side of the football as well when you're talking about Northwood? They're going to be another one of these teams try to stop the run first.
Well, that's where you've got to really rely on Jeff Janis, John Jennings, Andrew Dillon, Michael Albrecht, and Alfonso Vataggio, and whoever other receivers in the game, because you've got to have your play action passes ready to go. You've got to have your line ready to protect, and at the same time, you still got to be able to run the ball, and you got to figure out ways to run the ball against good defenses that load up against the run. At some point in that game, you're going to have to run it, and you've got to scheme up some plays that are designed to attack those looks and get people on, get blockers on defenders, and run the football and force the issue.
One of the things that seems to be an emerging trend for this team as well is every week it seems you're coming up with at least one big play on special teams. You got one in the win against Ferris where early in the game, A.J. McEwen fields the punt inside the 10. Sean Wren's able to get down there, force the fumble. Keenan Smith recovers it. So again, another big play on special teams.
Exactly, and let's not forget Dion Joby made a great play on the hands team on an onside kick, also a big tackle. I think what we're seeing right now, JJ, is not just a lot of emphasis and practice on the kicking game, but players that have really embraced those roles and have really stepped up in those roles. And I think that's the key to special teams. If you can get good people on special teams that really embrace that role, that take a lot of pride in that role, you're going to have a good kicking game, and that's what we have right now.
Obviously, good kicking game, good pass game. Hopefully all of it comes together against Northwood. I know you're eager to have so many people come back and be a part of this game as well.
Exactly. We're going to have the '84 championship team at the game with Coach Eiler, a lot of other alums, a lot of our fans in the stands. Should have a great crowd, great atmosphere at Wick Stadium. And we got to keep doing the things we're doing. And what we've done well these last 4 weeks is we've protected the football. We've won the turnover battle, and we've been good in the kicking game. We've got to continue that.
Hopefully the Cardinals can continue that in the Axe Bowl for homecoming against Northwood. Coach Collins, good luck.
Thanks, JJ.
And we thank you for joining us, and we hope you have enjoyed this edition of SVSU Red Alert.